listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast, where we uncover inspiring things about our community through the stories of inspiring people who call it home. I am Dee Harrell, and this is the creator of Oh My Omaha, the blog, and the blogosphere's friendliest face herself, Kim Reiner.
Hi there. All right, so let's talk about today's show, Dee. We'll be talking about pro volleyball in Omaha and what it's like for players to become new residents in Omaha. And I think this is something you can kind of relate to. You were a transplant here.
I am.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, when do you count that? I'd still say I'm a transplant. I am still Canadian, but I did move here 20 years ago. But yes, as a transplant, I'm proudly Canadian Omahaan. I don't know. Was that a term that I can use?
Sure. Yeah. What was it like moving to Omaha? Like, I guess, how did you adjust?
I didn't know what to think. I had driven through Nebraska before, but I'd never been to Omaha. And then moving here, it's a hub. I feel like it's got little parts of other cities that I've lived in, and it's easy to navigate. Probably the easiest to navigate. The grid system here is amazing in comparison to any other traffic system that I've been in. But I like the ease of living. I like the ease of traveling. Raised kids here. It's a great place as a transplant. I still go quote unquote home, and those similarities still exist even as the city's evolved. And I love it here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
dive on in. Should I introduce our guest?
Yes.
Cool. Our guest today is Allison Mayfield. Allison is an outside hitter for the Omaha Supernovas, Nebraska's first professional volleyball team. She played 4 years at Kansas with an epic run that made her one of the most prolific hitters in program history. She's played on teams in Europe and in South America, and in addition to being a player in the Pro Volleyball Federation, she's a coach at South Dakota State. Allison, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Totally. So we're wondering, how's Omaha treating you?
Omaha's been great. Being from Kansas City, I'd been to Omaha before, taken some trips, and so it's new for me to obviously live here, but it's just been so fun. We'll talk about volleyball and everything involved with it, but having just the Omaha fan base and the Nebraska fan base in volleyball has been great. So it's been, awesome to be here.
That kind of one of my questions was going to be, so you're from Overland Park, and I was going to ask you, are you the type of person who says you're from Kansas City to make it easier?
That's a great question because I'm close enough. I feel like most of the places I live, I played abroad for 8 years, and you say, where are you from? I say Overland Park. They're like, what is that? But you say Kansas City, people know it a little bit more. So I feel like now that I'm in Omaha, I'll say Kansas City, and then if they, then I'll say I'm from Overland Park. So, I'll do both. Mostly Kansas City, and then if people say they're familiar, then I'll, go into it with Overland Park. Yes.
I do that too. People will be like, oh, you're Canadian. Where are you from? I'll say Toronto. I'm actually from Georgetown, which is a suburb of Toronto. Sorry, but I'll do the same thing.
Same as Toronto.
Yeah, people are always like Georgetown, know. But yeah,
like what's that near? It's easier to just say Kansas City, and then if they're familiar, then you get a little bit more detail.
100%.
So, yep.
Yeah. So since you've been here for a bit and familiar, what are your go-to spots around here?
We haven't done so much. We have time, obviously, but there's a couple places that I was, kind of expecting this question. A couple places we've gone to, but I am the teammate that is invited to places and not the teammate that plans the things. So it's like, send me the address and I'll be there. So there's a lot that I feel like I'm going to miss. But some of the places we had one of our teammates' birthday dinners at Moolah. That was fun. That was really, really good. Couple brunches at like Early Bird. And then we do a lot, we play at CHI. So right across the street, there's Let It Fly, a couple other little places to hop in. But yeah, some of the little coffee shops, I'm really terrible with names, and I'm like, oh, what's that place, that was there? But so far, everything I've tried has been great, and people all have suggestions on where you should go, and you should try this. And so if you guys have suggestions, I would love it. No, what'd you say?
So definitely,
yeah, I'd love it, because we, as a team, we all like to go new places and stuff when we have a free afternoon or free evening. So always looking for places to go.
Do you all live close to one another, or?
So we have most of us. There's a couple that are from Omaha, and they have homes here. So they live with their families. But the rest of us that aren't from Omaha live in an apartment complex together. So it's kind of funny. It feels like college. Everyone's in the dorms and stuff, and some of us are a little bit older, pretty far removed from college. But it's sending in the group chat, does anyone have an extra egg? Like, I'm trying to bake something. So it's very much like a dorm feel, but we have apartments that are kind of in the La Vista area.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's funny.
So we were wondering, so you've lived in cities all around the world pretty much. Do you have like a plan of attack to get to know the city? Like, what are your go-to spots that you try to find first when you relocate?
Obviously a grocery store.
That's good.
And the fact that there's Target here is perfect. So again, living in Europe for a long time, you kind of got to get the feel of what their supermarkets are, or their places that you can go and get your necessities and stuff like that. So being an American and knowing Target's here, from Overland Park, we've got Target there. Like you said, I was coaching at South Dakota State, and Brookings is small enough that there is no Target, just a Walmart. So, love me a good Target, but got to find that first, groceries. And then I'm a coffee drinker, but I like to make my coffee at home sometimes. But if there's a good little coffee shop where you can sit and maybe do some work and stuff like that, it's also somewhere that I'm kind of keeping my eye open for. So
we were talking about that because we both, I lived overseas or studied overseas, and we were talking about what our go-to spots were, like.
Yeah.
What
to feel home. Yeah. So like whenever I've lived in different cities, I always find a good bookstore.
Okay.
Coffee shop for sure.
Yep.
But like live music, if it's a dive bar or if there's like a concert venue or something, I seem to seek those out. Find my people, I guess, like in for those moments that I'm living there. Those are typically the spots that I would seek out.
Yeah.
And for me, I studied, first in high school, I was like 16. And so my experiences were vastly different than when I went overseas in college. So like 16, I was looking for the English language bookstores.
Sure.
And like the movie theaters that had English subtitles, or they had the original language and not dubbed. And I'm like, okay, that's what I wanted. And I wanted parks that were nice and had a nice view. And then when I was older, I went to Costa Rica, and so it was like I was more comfortable with the language. So it was like, let's find the bus stops, how to travel, and then the bars. And then when I was a little older and I was in Brussels, it was the grocery stores. I had to, because I had to feed myself, and more realistically, I had to find the practical places.
Both of you said that, and I never came to the forefront, which is a little concerning.
And I think it's different, obviously, being here back in the States. Like when you're traveling abroad and you feel like you're kind of an exporter, like you're not where you're supposed to be, you got to figure out, okay, how do I navigate this? Where can I go if I need this or that? And I mean, here it's home, right? Like I'm not from Omaha, I'm this city, but all the name brand or big stores of Target and Walmart and all that stuff. And so it's really, you don't need to find that as much when you're here, because it's just moving in a different place. But yeah, it's definitely, I think, more of a priority when you're abroad and you're just like, all right, how do I feed myself? How do I get from here? The bus system and the transportation is also a big one. I think if you don't have a car, it's like trying to figure out, okay, what's close? Where can I get this and all that stuff? So again, being here and everyone has cars, it's not as much of an issue. But
there's no way. I didn't want to eat out alone when I was 21. If I had my friends, we would dine out, but I'd cook for myself over ever having to just sit at a restaurant by myself.
Yeah.
Now I don't really care so much, but
yeah, and that's funny how you think about how age affects how you navigate when you travel, throughout the years. Water was a big thing for me too. If I could find a body of water, ocean, lake, river, something, that's very homey to me. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so then if you had been here, growing up so close to Omaha and having been here before, present time, has your perception changed or your appreciation for the city changed?
I wouldn't say my perceptions changed, but yeah, I would say I have a better appreciation. Obviously, now kind of calling this a temporary home. It's very Midwest, right? Midwest is Midwest. If you're in Kansas City, if you're in Omaha, and it's just nice to live somewhere where the people are friendly and help you out and just have that like hospitality. It's very just encouraging to know that you can go somewhere and get lost and be like, excuse me, can you help me out? And people aren't going to be rude to you, which isn't the case in some foreign countries. And then again, when it comes to like volleyball, the appreciation that this state has for volleyball is just unmatched. And it's, I knew that it was going to be a good following and that everything was going to be done right here. But I've been so like pleasantly surprised with just the outpouring of support from doing podcasts to going and seeing the club teams and everybody's so excited. And it's just the following and the support for the league and the team has been above and beyond what I expected, I'd say.
100%.
Yeah. I was able to go to the season opener.
Okay. That was fun.
It was beyond my expectations of what, like we left thinking we didn't need much time to find parking and get there. And we were like, holy cow, there was traffic lined up on the interstates. And like, wow, the city showed up for real. And what was it like on your end, like especially that first match?
Yeah, I think there was kind of build up to it. And we'd been doing media and stuff to try and get people interested, get people there. But I think it was the first match of this league ever. And so nobody really had any clue of how that was going to go. Like an expectation of like, I think there's going to be a lot of people, but I don't know what the production's going to be like. I don't know what this. And we knew that it was going to be done well. But like, when you visualize something in your head, you have nothing to go off of because it's not like I'd seen it on TV before or I've played in professional leagues abroad and had our first match there, but you kind of know how it's going to go. So it was just incredible, I think, coming out and seeing all the fans and everybody was so into it. And if you were there, it didn't end up in our favor, but it was a great match and about as good of a volleyball match as you can get, a 2-point victory in the fifth set. Like it was everything you could have wanted for the first match. And I think that's when we really knew, like, like I said, that this is going to be done right and it's going to be done well. But after that, it was like, wow, okay, like this is really cool. And this is going to be really special just being a part of this inaugural season. And especially here in Omaha, because you look at our attendance versus other teams in the league and it's not even close. And so, that was a really special night. And I just think we have a random match on a Thursday or a Wednesday and they're still showing up. And we've gone to some places where it's not the case. There's a couple thousand maybe. And that's just kind of what they expect where, we get 8,000 is like a normal Wednesday night, which is just crazy. So.
Yeah, I went a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah, that's one thing I do have to say. Omaha and Nebraska itself, they get really, really behind their teams. And it's the amount of support and camaraderie in that is phenomenal. It is unheard of in a lot of different realms of professional and college, to be honest. The fandom is just awesome.
That's all we got. No.
Yeah. And the kindness of the people.
Yes.
100%.
And I appreciate as a volleyball player, and I remember this, so I played at Kansas, and that was aging myself, but when Nebraska was in the Big 12. So we came to Nebraska and just the knowledge of the fan base too. There'd be a long rally and my team would end up winning the point, but the Nebraska fans would be clapping and just appreciating the good volleyball. And so it's a very positive energy too. And there's some places when you play abroad, they're very not cutthroat, but like you're there to do a job. And if you're not winning, the fans are going to let you know that they disapprove of how you're playing and everything. And everything here is just so positive. And so it's so refreshing and just, we're here to win. We're here to do our job. We know when we don't play bad, but it's great that even when we do have an off night or something, the fans are still going to come out and support us and they're going to be behind us. And we know that. So It's just,
great.
yeah.
That is good. You were saying something about like walking around and asking somebody for help and stuff. I just had something happen to me today, which was quite one of the, like a good example of that. I'm walking downtown on 10th Street, right by CHI.
Okay.
Coming over the bridge, from the Luminarium, and I passed a ton of people waiting for the light to change and crossing, and until I got to right before Jean Leahy Mall, a couple pulled over to stop me. I had my headphones on to tell me that my dress was stuck up on my backpack.
Oh no.
I was like, awesome. Thank you so much. Like,
yes.
So I did a post about it, thanking that kind couple for telling me and whatnot. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I walked by, all of these people walked around me even. And then said, yeah. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
It's one of those moments where you're like, I'm really embarrassed, but I would have been more embarrassed if you didn't tell me. Like,
100%.
I appreciate you telling me.
It was
Thank
so,
you.
I was
Yes.
honestly like, awesome. So good.
Yes.
Who am I going to call about this real quick? But like, that might not happen in, in the heart of Toronto or wherever, like I might just be walking around with my dress stuck up my
The whole day.
backpack the whole day.
Yes.
But, so we kind of touched on free time a bit. Do you want to talk about
Yeah, so we were curious. So, yeah, you mentioned it, but what do you do in your free time? Do you have any hobbies, or how do you relax?
Yeah. So it's been it's been kind of a transition for me. I feel like you talked about my background. I played 8 years professionally right out of college, and then got into coaching. And so the last 4 years I've been coaching, and that's very much like a full-time, over 40 hours a week. You're going weekends, you're going from morning to night, and there's just not that much time that you have outside of work. So transitioning back into the player role, where we have practice and we have lift, and then occasionally we'll have appearances, do podcasts, go see a club team and kind of hang out with them, and those are all great, but we do have more free time, and so we've been trying to kind of figure something out to do, and some new hobbies. And one thing that a few of us have kind of gotten into, especially now that the weather's gotten nicer, is golf. And so we went golfing this weekend. It didn't go great. It didn't go terrible, but I think, just trying to find something that you can do outside. I like going on walks, kind of clear your head if things are going on, especially, again, with the nice weather. I think here the winters can be pretty harsh, and experienced that this was it January when it got to -20.
Oh my gosh, that was a tough month.
Yes.
I think the kids were out of school more than they were in school.
Yep.
Yes, and I know that's like, it's normal for it to be a cold winter, but -20, even the locals were like, this is not normal. But anyway, so with the weather getting nicer, like to do things outside, just go for walks, trying to take up golf. But then also we'll have like a movie night, or you kind of have to get creative. I've been doing puzzles a little bit more than I've ever done in my life. I've never been a puzzler, and our team kind of got into puzzling. So just little things, watching shows and stuff like that. You can only do that for so long, so you got to find little hobbies here and there. But we do a really good job of kind of doing things together, and we'll go to Topgolf, or we'll go have lunch or something together. And so yeah, there's more free time than I've had in the last few years, and still kind of trying to figure out what it really is that I'm going to be doing all the time. But it's fun to just kind of try new things and hang out with different teammates and get to know them a little bit better off the court. So that's been, I think, honestly, it's been a good team bonding, team building, get to know your team a little bit better than just being on the court. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you do walks? Like, do you look for hiking trails, like out in nature, or you just kind of walk the city, like get to know neighborhoods?
Or just like walking paths.
Okay.
Like and again, we started trying to golf a little bit, and I feel like there's so many golf courses here. Yes. Driving around, I'm like, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. And so I looked up a walking trail, or just a walking path, just kind of walking through. Sometimes it'll go through a golf course or through a neighborhood, or just any, little path that I can walk for a little bit, not on the main road, but a little bit more scenic. Not really a big hiking gal,
okay.
But just kind of a leisurely, clear your mind, get a little walk in. It's always good for the soul.
Big time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about some of the other things. We wanted to ask some stuff, about you.
Okay.
You know, and you went to school, play volleyball. You play volleyball professionally. So I went to school for volleyball, but I was a 3-sporter. I knew I wasn't going to go pro, but I got full ride, which is cool. But I was like, okay, I'm going to study something. So I studied, things I loved, and it was like 4 things, and I continued to do that. And I kind of just keep doing that as I've grown older. And since I don't necessarily think of what I do professionally as my hobby so much, so in a way, it was a weird thing for me to think of, because I've played, on like competitive like leagues since I've left college. But that's more of my free time. I'm choosing to play, correct? So I'm kind of curious. 1, what did you study in school? And then 2, what are the other things besides athletics or anything to do with what you do professionally that you like to do? And we kind of hit on it a little bit, but yeah.
Well, first off, I studied exercise science, so kind of on par for being an athlete and training and all of that stuff. I think originally I thought about going to PT school, become a physical therapist after, and kind of still just in this, played for a long time, and volleyball's just kind of been my life to some degree for the last, however many years it's been. So yeah, studied exercise science, and I did enjoy it. I think that was something, like you said, I wanted to study something that I enjoyed, and wasn't sure if I would go pro or not either. I truthfully didn't know, and that's kind of getting on a tangent, but I feel like it's really cool now. There's a lot more players that know going into college that they have the opportunity to go play pro. I had no idea. I didn't know that there was volleyball in Europe. I thought it was just you go to college, you play volleyball, you graduate, you're done. Right. But now it's a lot more common, and I'd say there's a lot more agents that are helping players transition from college to pro. And just with social media, like, you can see it. You can see someone else doing it who you watched in college, where to me, when I was watching players, it was like I said, like, you go to college and there's nothing after. So. Right. So I didn't know that what I was doing in college was going to kind of be this career for me to this point. But I think it's really cool. And yeah, I mean, hobbies, it's just so tough, because it's like, it's what I've been doing, and made a career out of then coaching when I got out of it, and now back into volleyball. It's crazy, but I think it's just building the relationships that you're able to through. I've played for so many different teams in so many different countries and stuff that I think it's a really cool thing that I have these lifelong friendships and stuff that have developed because of volleyball and because of the sport and because of the opportunities that are available, and especially here now when you get to play with other Americans, because sometimes on the teams there's 1 or 2 Americans, and you guys are kind of forced to be best friends because maybe your teammates don't speak another language. But yeah, I know, I think I strayed from your question quite a bit, but
no, we like straying from the question, so we welcome it.
The conversation.
I answered the college or the studying question, but
no, that's exactly where we wanted to go with it. Yeah, because you're right, the opening up of opportunities. I'm a short outside hitter. There was no way I was thinking anyone was going to be interested anyways, because we had, the only pro volleyball back then was beach.
Oh yeah.
And then I was, personally, I thought I was a better swimmer than I was a volleyball player anyways, but I digress on that. But you're right, the availability or the accessibility to see the different opportunities, professionally speaking, in the world of volleyball are so vast, or social media does play a big part. But being a pro athlete as a female, all these opportunities that have evolved from like when I went to college, I'm much older, but it's huge. It's phenomenal to see kind of what it's become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just with this league starting in the United States, I'm so happy that it's here. I've also said before, I wish it was here 10 years ago. Like, I don't regret any of my opportunities and experiences overseas. I loved them, and I feel like that like shaped who I was. But if I had the opportunity right out of college to just stay here and play and be close to my family and my friends, like I probably would have done it, and I probably would have not had those experiences. So again, don't regret any of that, but it's just so cool because I think so many players had in the last 20, 30, however many years, like have had to choose. Do I want to play volleyball or do I want to stay here close to my family? There's just so many people who that's not in their personality to just up and leave and move to a different country where you know nobody and you're going and just being placed in this, town where you got to figure out how to survive for the next 9 months. And it was probably one of the bravest decisions I've ever made. I think my parents honestly thought I was crazy when I was like, no, I think I want to go see the world a little bit and play. And they're like, well, why don't you just stay here? So just having the opportunity, I think it's going to keep so many talented volleyball players in the game for a little bit longer. And even if it's only a year or two, like I think it's great for our sport because, again, you had to make that decision. Do you want to go live in another country and leave all of your people? Or do you want to like stay and start your career? There's no in between, and this is at least a little bridge I feel like to keep players in the game, and it's at a very high level. Like it's very impressive and it's fun, and I feel like we've needed this league for a long, long time. So
agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
I was curious. Did your family see you overseas? See you play overseas? Did they get to travel or?
A couple of times. So I played for 8 years. My whole family came to see me my first year. My brother and my sister came and my parents. And then my parents were able to see me when I was playing in Peru a while ago.
Where was your first year? Where did they go to?
My first year I was playing right outside of Paris. Yeah, so, knew nothing. And this is, I like to help, if I can, help younger players on trying to find a good fit for them for their first year. Because I went to Paris being like, I love Paris and I'm going to just live there and it's going to be great. And not knowing anything about the professional volleyball side or any of that. And I came to realize that like I had other opportunities in smaller, lesser known places. But the volleyball that I chose, I was the only foreigner. Everyone else was French. It was almost a semi-pro team where we only practiced for 2 hours or 1 hour a day. It was at night. I had all day to myself. I lived in a studio by myself, so it was very lonely. And like I learned a lot about myself that year. Maybe wouldn't have chose to go back once I realized everything that it entailed being by yourself so much. But my parents and my brother and sister did come to watch me there, and then my parents were able to come in Peru, and it was kind of crazy because our first match here, maybe it wasn't our first match, but one of our first matches, my brother came up, and the last time that he saw me play was in France, in person, and that was over 10 years ago. Wow. So just, again, aging myself, but like they watched me almost every match going to KU and being from Overland Park. They had the 45-minute drive. They could come up to every match. And then I played for 8 years, and they saw me play like 2 or 3 matches. Now, again, being in Omaha, living in Kansas City, it's so easy for them to drive up and watch me play. So it's just a really cool experience because, they'll watch on TV or online if they broadcast the match or something, but it's just not the same. And my brother was like, yeah, I realized that was the first time in over 10 years that I'd seen you play. And I was like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so, again, so thankful for this opportunity. Yeah. It's great for the young players, but it's also great for, my situation's a little bit different than some others who've just been continuously playing. But it's just so cool that this opportunity came up, and there's players at all stages of life that have kind of come back or stuck with volleyball or just coming out of college, and we're all kind of just meshing together. So it's really
awesome.
Cool.
It is so cool.
You talked about kind of helping other players find the right fit, right team. And so I wanted to know, like, what kind of advice do you give to either the young women who are about to embark on their first pro league or try semi-pros? What kind of advice do you give them? And then do you get a chance to talk to even younger players, younger girls who are your fans at the Supernovas and that sort of thing? Like what they have dreams of pro volleyball players, being a pro volleyball player. So what different things do you tell them or help them learn?
I think, and we, like I said, we've kind of gone to some of the local clubs and had some question and answer sessions with them where they could ask us questions and what do we, what's our best advice for them and stuff like that. I think if it's a younger player trying to find a college program, obviously you can find a spot, you can find the right fit for you somewhere. And it's not always, I want to go Power 5 D1. Sometimes it's, you got to know yourself and what you want out of the situation. You got to be happy with where you're going to school, and you got to know that you're going to like it, and a big part of it is also teammates. So you're going to gel with your teammates and all that stuff. So I tell people not to be too close-minded or like set, I've got to do this, and this is my dream school, and I'm not going to be happy unless I go here, because there's so many great opportunities out there, and if you're going in with a closed mind, it's just not going to be very beneficial. And then also it's our sport, and I think every sport has become so not specialized, but like kids specialize in their sports at a very young age. Mm-hmm. And I was also a multi-sport athlete. I actually did track and field at KU as well as volleyball. But I think that experience playing different sports only helps. It trains your body to not just do one specific motion over and over and over again, and then you get burnout and you get fatigue, and your body kind of starts breaking down earlier. Whereas if you're doing all these different sports, it keeps it fresh, it keeps it exciting for the next season. So if they're young, I'm like, don't feel like you have to pick volleyball when you're 9 years old, because maybe you think you want to be a volleyball player now, and then a few years down the line you want to go swim. Yeah. Like, just keep your options open and have fun with what you're doing, and don't make it too serious. Don't think that if I don't have this school looking at me, or I'm not committed by this age, like it's the end of the world. Like, just enjoy it, enjoy the journey. So that's kind of, what I would tell the younger players, someone who's trying to transition from college to professional. And it's different now, I guess, with this opportunity. If you can stay here, it's something different to consider. I don't know why you wouldn't want to stay here and pursue this. But if somebody does want to go abroad like I did, again, just kind of focusing on, there's certain leagues out there that are great for your first year. If you're not a top All-American player who's going to go to the higher leagues, there's some teams out there that are just known for taking care of you and paying you on time, which is a big thing, because sometimes there's clubs that are known for not paying you. So kind of just using my experience to, hey, like, this is a great country. The whole league is great. I think you'd like it there. Ask how many other foreigners there are there. Ask, if coming home for Christmas is a big deal. Ask if you can do that. Just little things that I've learned over the years that I think are beneficial. And I wish I had somebody kind of to tell me that when I was going through it. So kind of just using my experience share to help people out a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. We had talked about kids specializing. So my daughter, she's 12, and she's tall for her age. So she's played a bunch of sports when she was younger, and now like volleyball's her favorite game, and she had the option now of like, it's off season of volleyball, and I wanted to know, did she want to do club? And she had tried club, I think last year she tried club, and she really decided she wanted just to do YMCA league because it's more fun. Yeah. And she's like, I like volleyball, and she's great with it, but she just wanted to have fun with it. Yeah. And we also, not make her, but we encourage her and my son to like do other sports. So swimming. So it was weird, or not weird, but it's interesting that some of our other friends have kids similar ages, and they are 12 months out of the year on their sport. And so like it's sport league and then camps through the summer. And I was just like, I can't imagine I would get so bored. Yeah. I think my kids would get so bored too. Like, okay.
Yeah, we talked about that at length. Yeah.
Like,
it is.
I need diversity. Like I need to things need to be changed up for me.
100%. And I think honestly that the fact that having you tell them is it's really much more beneficial than a lot of people understand. Look, the elitism of it is it just went from like not to club
Yes.
for everything, right?
And I think there's you feel a lot of pressure. Like, if I like this sport, and I'm pretty good at it, but I want to also go play that sport, but you guys are playing that sport year round. When we come back to the season, my school league or whatever, like, you're going to be so much better than me. So I need to, which is like, that's not the case. And it, you know, there's a time where, all right, if you are set on, I want to get a scholarship on this sport, maybe in high school or a little later, 12, like, still very young, you know. I think my first year of club, I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
I played basketball. I played, you know, a long time ago, played soccer, played softball, I did track. I just did all the sports, and I looked forward to the end of one season and the beginning of the next. And it just every year, you know, when I didn't look forward to the beginning of that next season, I think that's when you knew, like, all right, well, if basketball season rolls around and I still kind of want to be playing volleyball, and that kind of is what happened in high school, maybe I just start focusing on that. And I think it naturally will occur. Whereas if it's forced or you feel that pressure, and a lot of clubs are just starting with younger and younger and younger age groups where it seems like that's normal. And I guess it is normal, but it's not. I don't want kids to burn out when they're 12, you know, if they've been playing club volleyball year round since you're 8, 9 years old, and then you're 12 and you're just like, it's not fun anymore because you don't have that, I'm looking forward to it as much as, you know, this other sport type of thing. So, and it's to each his own. There's kids out there that just absolutely love one sport and they know it. And it's like, great for you. But I would say the majority of kids out there just go out and have fun.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's great that you can be an example that you could be a pro player, but have fun, do other sports, and you still make it, still have that
100%.
achieve that dream. So
Yeah, and doing the one sport thing is a little concerning sometimes when it comes to like injury.
Yes.
Right? You know, it's just the overuse and over the same motion over and over and over again is taxing. You know, your body just kind of.
We talk a lot about mechanics. I think it's important. It's kind of crazy if you think about the coaching aspect of it, where the best coaches, the most knowledgeable coaches, are usually coaching the higher level college kids or high school kids, where we really need good coaches at the young beginner stages, so that, to your point, if someone's teaching attacking wrong and you're taking hundreds of swings biomechanically the wrong way, like, you're going to hurt yourself. And it's just important to teach those basics. And I had some great coaches growing up, and my body's held up for longer than it should. Knock on wood. Where's some wood? But I credit my coaches, because I had some good coaches at a young age that taught me how to, you know, do my arm swing, or how to just any sort of blocking motion or anything like that. Like, I had some great coaches, and that's not always the case. So it's just important, you know, getting that at an early age and making sure that, again, even if you do it right, if you do it over and over and over and over again, and there's no strength training or anything like that, like, your body's still, there's a pretty good risk for injury.
Yeah, it's just some things we don't think about on that. You know, the supporting things to being great at what you do. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we ask everybody who's on our show the same question at the end.
Okay.
And it's, where do you find inspiration in the community?
Inspiration in the community. I don't know if I'm going to answer this correctly, if there's a right or wrong answer.
There's no right or wrong.
Okay. I feel like we've already touched on it. Being here for the Supernovas, playing professional volleyball, this community itself is what gives me the inspiration. Like, just having the fan base that we do, and people showing up and showing out day in and day out. Every match that we've had is just people just keep coming back, and we know that it's special here. And along with that, my teammates that I spend almost all of my time with. Like, we have a very special group, and we hang out with each other outside of the gym, which isn't always normal. People kind of can live their own lives, but we really bonded and gel well together. So it's really inspiring to have this fan base behind us, and then this group of young women who all have the same goal and get along so well. And it's a great place to be right now. I think they, you know, fans are allowing us to feel the love like we feel it, and then just having teammates that support each other. There's 14 on the active roster. We've got a couple practice players, but only 6 can play on the court. And we are all just like, so over half of us are not playing or on the bench, and it's just, we can still feel the love that we have for each other and the support, and it's inspiring. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
So
love it.
is there anything that you want to say or that you want to get off your chest or say to the
Get
audience?
off my chest. Yes. No, I think I would just thank the fans. Like thank the community and the fans, because like I said, it's easy to come out and do our jobs and go and have a great time and try our best and really be motivated to do well for the fans. And so thank you for coming out and always being there. And we do what we do because of you, and it's a fun job. I'm not gonna lie.
And where can people find tickets and whatnot?
Online?
Yeah.
Supernovas?
Supernovas.com?
I don't know. That is a great question. I would say online. I think we run some specials. If you follow our social media account, every once in a while they have a little deal for, we had Pi Day. There were $3 tickets and stuff like that. So if you follow us on social media, you can kind of get the inside scoop and some discounted tickets. And we are hosting the championship. It has been announced, yes. May 15th and 18th. So we got to make sure that we're in it. Yes. But
get that home field advantage.
Yes. I think tickets are either on sale. I think they're on sale for season ticket holders right now, and they will be open to the public soon. If not, I don't remember what dates those are. But looking forward to having that here. And I think, it's a no-brainer to have it in Omaha because, like I said, the attendance and the fans and people show up. So why not have it here where there's the best fan base? And
that's awesome.
People are going to come and watch. So
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Cool.
Thanks for listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast. We want to thank our guest, Hurrdat Media, all of you for your support, and the Omaha community at large.
So from D and I, keep on exploring.